I'm Megan Lisa Jones. I'm a Silicon Valley native, a child of immigrants, and a mom. And I'm here to explain why we should be raising disruptive children. Disruption is simple in theory, but much more difficult in practice. Essentially, it means to throw into confusion or disorder, to interrupt or impede. Disruption also applies in innovation and entrepreneurship, and that you have to be willing to challenge the status quo and risk something new in order to usher in a new way of doing things. Disruptors aren't always obedient, but they do drive change, innovate, and evolve. Schools aren't supposed to be disruptive. That theory is wrong, and we should be raising disruptive children. In Victorian England, children were supposed to be seen and not heard. 100 years ago, Horace Mann modernized our American school system by introducing universal education based on the Prussian model. Kids were supposed to be obedient and uniform. Back when our economy was driven by agricultural and manufacturing workers, sitting kids in straight rows and teaching them memorization and yes-no answers made sense. Indeed, today biology is taught before physics and chemistry, because 100 years ago, most kids didn't graduate high school, and so didn't finish the science programs. Thus, since many became agricultural workers, biology was just more useful. Today, with scientific advances, a good grasp of chemistry and physics actually helps you understand biology. Our schools also don't teach a real-world application of knowledge, disruption, or uncertainty. Lost in our uniform search for answers is the reality that in life we too often operate with incomplete or constantly changing information, unpredictable people, and constant change. Life is messy, and those who can recognize trends, changes, and evolution within and outside of industries can and do change the world. We as a society should be raising disruptive children. Children love to question, create, and goof off, which is otherwise known as playing. All kids can tell a good story and write their own song. Children instinctively grasp ambiguity and are willing to spend countless hours building something new. Moreover, now with social media and our ability to connect, being seen is actually an advantage. The skills that constitute literacy in the past are no longer a competitive advantage in our knowledge-based and flat world. A major problem today is that we can't fully predict the future while the pace of change continues to accelerate. Our kids will need to know not professions, but rather skills, adaptability, and what you're all doing here today, the ability to continually re-educate. Many of their jobs will be in industries that didn't even exist while they were going through the school system. And our educational system has lost touch with the changes and evolution inherent in our actual world. It doesn't educate for the future, but rather to address the past. The current focus on testing, right answers, and certain more practical subjects ignores the interrelationship among disciplines and the sophistication of real-world problems and solutions. Kids are being taught to remember, not think. If you ask any Silicon Valley executive, they'll tell you that a computer can remember better than a person always, but no computer yet can duplicate the complex thought processes of a human being. Life isn't linear, nor are people or most internet search. So why do we keep emphasizing the more linear disciplines, math and science, but not also including the complements, philosophy and music, for example? We need to be teaching disruption and focusing on questions and questioning, not answers. If a child grows up unable to figure out the right questions and problems, what good is an answer memorized when they can find it on Google just as easily? We also need to be teaching the ability to start, create, adapt, and innovate. Disruption is an active process and can be taught. I recently completed an online beta test class for Draper University, which is Tim Draper's entrepreneurship in San Mateo. Draper U takes slightly older, meaning post-college, kids who have shown ability and teaches them to embrace disruption and channel it to create something new that will improve the world. The same concepts will work for younger children. Our educational system should be replaced with one that addresses learning needs for the modern world. Universal education became a right 100 years ago. The world has changed since then, and a new version of learning should be embraced, if not by the schools, then by the parents and the children who are most disadvantaged by our outdated educational system. Increasingly, our young people aren't competitive and aren't getting jobs, while disruptors are creating them. Thank you.